I'm Howie Lim. This is Money Hacks by the Business Times. It seems employees in Singapore are signaling their intent to move, with 67% or about 2 in 3 considering a job change within the next 12 months, and the figure surpasses the global average of 60%. Whoa. But aren't there things to think about, particularly financial, before making that leap? Welcome to Money Hacks, a podcast series by the Business Times, where we explore useful financial tips to help you on your money managing and wealth growing journey. I'm Howie Lim. And if you have feedback or an idea for a podcast episode, do get in touch, btpodcasts@sph.com.sg. Helping us figure this out today, Susan Fanning, Head of Wellbeing Solutions at Aon.
Thank you so much for inviting me along today, Howie.
Susan, we're hearing a lot about the Great Resignation and the war for talent, or are we? Are those things still happening today?
They are. Aon completed an employee sentiment survey where we invited more than 9,000 employees across 23 countries to share their views on what was valuable in the workplace to them. As part of that, we had 482 participants in Singapore respond. Those participants belong to companies with more than 500 employees. And one of the data points that came out very strongly was that in Singapore, 67% of employees are either in the process of moving or will consider moving in the next 12 months.
That's quite a high percentage, isn't it? Where do they want to go? Or what sort of skills or industries are seeing that potential high turnover, so to speak?
From a turnover perspective, we see across Asia Pacific, it varies quite a lot by industry type. In business consulting and community services, we see the highest rates of voluntary turnover at 23%. And that's followed by life sciences and the medical device industry at 18.4%, with energy at 18%, and financial services at 17.3%.
I'm finding that surprising because those are hot industries, or because they're hot.
I think it can be because they're hot industries that certain skills are in demand. So it makes it easier for employees to be able to find an opportunity that's right for them. And what we see through the employee sentiment survey is that there are a couple of things that Singaporeans are looking for when they're considering where to move. So first and foremost, they are looking for above average pay and meaningful benefits. In general, employees will be doing their research and leveraging information that's available either through their own network or through reports that are published that will indicate what the average salary in different markets are. They will look at a certain level of increase that they want to get from that. Other things that are really important, and one of the key things in Singapore at the moment, is flexible working environment. So employees are looking for good work-life balance and organizations that provide that. 3 other things that are coming through in the top 5 for Singaporeans is that their employer provides support for their well-being. The definition of well-being has expanded quite a lot, and we see the focus on well-being being across physical well-being, mental health, financial well-being, and workplace culture. So we see organizations investing in all of the aspects of that. And employees have different expectations across each of the dimensions. In Singapore, we see that providing flexible working arrangements is a key consideration for employees. So that is the second most highly rated characteristic that employees are looking for when they're choosing an organization.
In your view, what are some of the other financial considerations employees looking to switch jobs should have, though, Susan?
I think there are a number of different components that employees should consider. So first and foremost is the total rewards that are being put in place. So what's the base salary? Because everybody has a certain level of expenditure that they need to be able to meet. They need to pay rent, they need to pay utilities, they need to pay groceries, they need to pay for a number of expenditure items that their family need. So base salary is really important. But alongside that, there's also looking at areas like bonus. And many organizations will provide performance-related bonuses that might be paid annually, quarterly, or monthly. So knowing and understanding what that is and what are the conditions under which you can achieve the bonus is really important so that that can be factored into overall annual planning expenditure. One of the other key items to consider is the level of health coverage that's provided. And in Singapore, we have an aging population that's in place. And when we look at different generations and the benefits that they are seeking for the most, definitely what we see in the older generations is that the number one consideration for them in benefits is medical coverage, healthcare coverage. So knowing and understanding what's covered within that, and if you're looking at changing employer, making sure that you're doing that comparison between the medical coverage that you have in one organization and what you've got elsewhere. In particular, if there are out-of-pocket expenses, are things like vision and dental and health checkups included as part of the healthcare package that your employer is putting in place?
Something that seems to come up a lot, cost of time off. I'm assuming that means your paid time off, how many days off you're allotted, that sort of thing?
Okay, so in paid time off is one of the most highly valued benefits that the younger generation are looking for. And within paid time off, the leave category, there are a number of different areas to look at within there. So there is the paid time off. There is also sickness leave and flexible working arrangements. So for instance, if my employer has flexible working arrangements and I can start work later, then actually I don't need to take time off to go to the bank or to meet with an insurance agent or to complete activities for my kids. So knowing and understanding that flexibility is really important alongside how many days you get.
Okay. I'm thinking let's lay them out clearly, yeah? The top benefits which employees are looking for when they consider jumping ship.
The top rated benefits that we see in Singapore is that the employer is providing better than average pay and meaningful benefits. The next one is around the flexible working arrangements and the level of medical coverage that is being provided. For the older generations, the focus on medical coverage is a very important benefit that's being provided. For the younger generations, getting paid time off and flexible working and work-life balance programs are two of the key benefits that they will look for.
Got it. We're going for a break now. When we come back, what to do if you hadn't planned it. You sort of left in a rage. We like to call it throw letter. More with Susan Fanning from Aeon in a moment.
Lens on Singapore is now bigger and better. The same deep dive exploration of socioeconomic and geopolitical issues which impact our lives here in Singapore and the region is now a video podcast. If watching a conversation is your thing, join Claressa Monteiro in monthly conversations about things that matter. Subscribe to the BT Lens On playlist in the podcast tab of the Business Times YouTube channel and start watching today. BT Lens On Singapore, now available in audio and video.
And now, back to Money Hacks from the Business Times.
Welcome back. Susan Fanning is Head of Wellbeing Solutions at Aeon. And Susan, would it be fair to say then, don't move if the new place doesn't have all of those things which you spelt out earlier?
There are a lot of different areas that you should consider if you're thinking of changing role. First and foremost is making sure that you are considering the financial aspects of it. So what's being provided from a total rewards perspective? So both what's the base pay, what is the bonus that's being provided, and what are some of the other financial benefits that are in place? So health insurance coverage being a key part of that, as well as paid time off. Maybe also having a look at commute times. So if you're going to be spending a lot of time commuting, that can be a key consideration for employees as well. Other aspects, the support that employers are providing for overall well-being. We think about workplace culture. What is the support that's being provided for skills and development? Is the employer providing training opportunities for you to be able to evolve your skills? Do they have promotion opportunities for you for going forwards as well? Where is your career at today and where do you want to take it in the future and what does that look like?
So let's say someone hadn't really thought about all that, hadn't really planned to switch jobs, left in a rage, like we said. Would the plan be the same, or what should they do?
It can happen that somebody leaves a role without having another opportunity in place. First and foremost, you look at what's your financial situation. So what savings do you have? What are your immediate financial needs? What's your ability to be able to pay all of your normal bills, like your rent, your utilities, groceries, all of those key aspects? And making sure that you have enough money to be able to pay for those is a key consideration. So there may be some level of compromise that employees make between their ideal next job and their need to meet their immediate financial ambitions today, which is, I need to pay my rent.
Are corporates becoming more competitive in this benefits game in order to improve employee retention, address concerns that people might have, and make sure their employees' well-being is taken care of, Susan?
We have seen that organizations are increasingly investing in employee well-being. There are a lot of programs and supports that are in place. What we also see is that the programs and supports that are put in place that allow you to meet the business objectives versus what employees want and ask for can be different. And as part of that, we see that 65% of employees would be willing to sacrifice existing benefits to have greater choice over the benefits that are being provided. And some of those benefits will be part of what makes up their overall sense of well-being in an organization. I can definitely see that more organizations are looking at how do they personalize the benefits that are in place. And there are a couple of different ways in which organizations can do that. Because again, we recognize that there are certain minimum standards that organizations will want to put in place. So that for employees who say, maybe I don't need any medical coverage, but you know that you want your employees to be healthy. And in the unfortunate event that something happens, that they can access high quality medical care. So there are some base minimum standards that you would want to put in place. But maybe there are other areas where employees can flex the benefits that they have. So for instance, do you want more dental coverage? Do you want more vision coverage? Do you want to have more life assurance because you've got a larger family and you want to leave more money behind for them to be able to cope in the unfortunate event that something happens to you or you're no longer able to work?
What's your top tip for an individual as they plan their next career move, as they think about switching roles and such?
Is a great question to ask. It's important for somebody to sit down and to evaluate what their current financial situation is today. So what is your ability to meet all of the financial obligations that you have today? And if you're looking at making a transition or a change, will there be a gap or a shortfall within there? And if so, what's your ability to be able to cope with that? Also have a look at not just what the immediate pay increase will be, but also what does it mean from promotional opportunities that are in place and what future salary increases will look like as well. I would also say that social network and the sense of belonging in an organization, so the network that you have, is really important as well. Because working with people that you like, doing a job that you love and that brings you a lot of satisfaction, also brings a huge benefit and boost to well-being for an employee. So that it's not a financial consideration, but your happiness is equally important alongside the financial consideration. So once you know that you can meet your basic financial obligations, then it's looking at the other factors too. So is this an environment in which you will thrive? Are the company's values and mission aligned to what's important to you?
How does one find that out, though?
There are a number of different ways that you can find it out. So you leverage your own network. You can check on some of the online social media boards that exist where employees are sharing their views, and they will share whether there are opportunities for progression and development internally within the organization. They will talk about what the management and leadership in the organization is like. So you can then assess whether this is an environment in which you can thrive and you can build a successful career. Another area that is important to look at is job security. So are you looking at an industry that is growing, or are you looking at a role in an industry where there is the possibility for retrenchments, for involuntary turnover that is coming up in the future. And what does that mean for you? And whether you want to be in a position where you're looking for another job again, maybe in 12, 18 months' time. To build your career and to build a solid career path for going forwards with regular increases in your salary, staying in the same organization where they will invest in your skills, in your personal development, and where you're building friendships and you're enjoying going to work. You love the people that you work with. You see the value in what it is that you're doing. And that can bring a huge sense of satisfaction and improve overall well-being for employees as well.
Takeaway order Money Hacks 212 is up. Considerations when switching jobs goes beyond just pay and bonus. Does your new job have benefits that suit you, like adequate health and dental insurance? Will you spend more time en route to work? And will you thrive in the new environment? Non-financial considerations are just as important. Thanks to Susan Fanning, Head of Wellbeing Solutions at Aon.
Thank you so much for inviting me to come along. It's a pleasure spending time with you, Howie.
And this has been Money Hacks from the Business Times.
This is a podcast by the Business Times. Find more BT podcasts at businesstimes.com.sg/podcasts. Or wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast is meant to provide general information only. SPH Media accepts no liability for loss arising from any reliance on the podcast or use of third parties' products and services. Please consult professional advisors for independent advice.